Well, welcome to the Move the Needle podcast live from Brooklyn V's. We've got a great lineup for you today. Chef Ron, Teresa Porter. But first, a word from two of our favorite people.
What makes Belle Lacet lingerie so unique? For starters, check out the vast selection and size range. Cups from A to K in styles like balcony, plunge, wireless, strapless, and more, including mastectomy and maternity bras. With superior customer service and free professional fittings, it's the go-to bra shop in the East Valley. Locally owned, with 2 locations in Ahwatukee and Gilbert. Check out our glowing reviews on Google and Yelp. Visit BelleLacetLingerie.com to learn more.
Howdy, this luxury home will blow your mind. Watch until the end to see a feature that your dog will write you a thank you note for, if they could. Spoil your pup in style with this custom-made dog wash.
Welcome to, this is episode 27, Steve, of our Move the Needle podcast. How are you today?
Fantastic. Smells
Ready?
great. Ready. Energized.
You always put us in these restaurants where the smells are overwhelming and all I want to do is eat pizza, which will destroy me.
And they're going to keep coming your way. So get comfy.
Get comfy.
Yes.
Speaking of getting comfy, our first guest today, this is the first guest we've had on the show who's seen me absolutely naked. She's had her hands all over my body. She has touched me in places that my wife hasn't even touched me before.
Extra.
That's great.
Extra.
Matthew.
When you say it like that,
Oh my
people are
gosh.
leaning in.
I'm leaning in. I'm like, tell
see
me
you
more.
You do tell, right?
We do it on the couch. We do it on the table. She is an unbelievable practitioner. We do it on the floor. And what I'm talking about
my gosh, Matthew.
is yoga, massage, emotion code work, Reiki. She's an unbelievable healer. She's been in my life pretty much since the day I arrived.
To Phoenix.
What a warm welcome that
Thank
is.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Get really close to that microphone.
I don't know if I should say thank you for that introduction or not, but thank you.
It's a truth.
Sure.
It is. Yes, yes.
But when you put it like I put it, it does have it's got a little bit of a kinky
love
connotation.
What is he
Yes.
talking about?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. My
No,
favorite
I'm not
part-
your girlfriend.
That's right. My favorite part as I worked it out was we do it on the couch, we do it on,
On
the
the
table,
floor.
and we do it on the floor.
Hey,
do.
I like to change it up.
This is so good. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for
So good to
having
have
me.
you here. Yeah, no, she's been in my life pretty much since the day I arrived here in Phoenix. We met at a gym event.
You
in
remember, huh?
Ahwatukee. Yeah, of
No, it was
course.
Gilbert, actually. It was a Gold's Gym.
Gold.
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was in
It was
Ahwatukee, but I was
baselining
brand new,
Gilbert.
so.
Yeah, it was Gold's Gym. I had a booth there highlighting my shiatsu massage, and
Oh,
that's
yes.
what intrigued you.
Yes. Do you know what shiatsu massage is?
I do.
What is it?
You do.
That is when they do it with the Reiki. Is it the energy clearing?
No, not even close. Shiatsu is I do the whole massage using my feet.
So she has bars that she holds
Oh,
on
so
to.
that's what they call. So it's funny. That's what
So
I just call
I
that.
don't know if you're thinking of shiatsu,
No,
which
no,
is
no,
different than ashiatsu.
No. I just call that. That's where I go. I call that reflexology.
Hold on,
I
guys.
don't-
We have to totally start again. I didn't have her mic engaged. My apologies. Okay.
So the intro and everything.
Everything. Yeah.
All right.
which
you're-
is
are you
great.
gonna roll with the same
Yeah,
intro?
you're damn right.
Which is great. Which, by the way, I'm not going to get that wrong. I just didn't know that was the official name. I call that reflexology. I get that like once
That's
a
not
month.
reflexology. Is on your
Reflexology is
feet.
different than
Okay, hold on.
ashiatsu. Okay,
No,
let's
but they hold-
hold,
we gotta save
pause
this
the
for the tape.
conversation.
Yeah. But
Max
they do it with your feet.
309.
No, I do.
Am I?
And here we go. Welcome back. It is time for episode number 27 of our Move the Needle podcast. I'm Matthew Blades.
Steve Pets.
How you feeling, buddy?
Feeling fantastic.
You ready to go today?
Ready to go.
Yeah.
The sunshine, and what a beautiful day here,
Yeah.
Arizona. What a
And it
amazing guests. too.
Smells good too. You always have
Oh,
us in these
smells, yes,
restaurants
yes.
where the smells are so much that I want to chew on everything they eat.
Like I said, get cozy because we're going to be here and many of those others for a long time to come.
All right. Speaking of
Yes.
food, we've got a guy named Chef Ron who's going to join us in a little bit. Our first guest, though, is the first one that we've had on this show who's seen me naked. She has had her hands all over my body. She has had her hands in places on my body that my wife hasn't, quite frankly, touched before. In my time with this particular person, we do it on the couch, we do it on the table, we do it on the floor.
We do.
And it has been one of the greatest
I can't
parts
wait to hear
of
this.
my life to have her as one of my healers.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
She's a yoga practitioner. She, when I met her, it was all about the Ashiatsu massage. She's done emotion code work with me, which has been incredible. Hopefully that'll come up today. She's done Reiki on my body, which is, of course, happens on the table.
Not on the floor.
And welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Matthew.
I'm so happy you came on today.
Yes.
How do you like that intro?
I love it. It's been the best I've ever had, I have to say.
Really?
The best I've
Yeah,
ever had.
it was.
Love it.
Yeah, that we'll edit that, right? We'll
Yeah,
edit
yeah.
that, like, she's had her hands on my body and all. The
It's
best
the best
I've ever had.
ever had. Good delivery.
Oh, my
true, yeah.
goodness. We could have a lot with this conversation, but I'll keep my mouth closed.
Teresa and I met each other more than a dozen years ago.
Yes.
I was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks in the market. I just moved here to take over Mix 96.9. I did my first event at a Gold's Gym.
Yes, it was at Gold's Gym. I had
And
I was
thought
a
it was
vendor
an
there.
Awatuki, but you say no?
It's Gilbert. It was Gilbert.
Because that's where you lived.
It is where I live, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, all right, we have a lot that we're going to get into, but corporate yoga is one of the things that we're going to focus on. She's made a pivot recently, and I think it's super exciting, so we'll talk about that. I met her, though, because she did this type of massage, Steve, that was like mind-blowing for me. I'd never had it done before, and it was called Ashiatsu massage.
You pronounced it correctly.
Yeah, well, every now and again I get things right. You know what Ashiatsu massage is?
It's something with your feet.
Yes.
It's when they hold the bars.
Yes, so
And-
I use my whole feet, either the pad of the foot, the heel of my foot, or my whole foot to do the massage. So it's a much deeper, broader pressure versus pinpoint using my fingertips or my elbows. So it's great for I used to work on a linebacker for the Cardinals, bodybuilders, people that are super active that need that deep pressure, but also a lot of my female clients that couldn't tolerate the pinpoint of fingertips or elbows could tolerate the pressure of the Ashiatsu because it was a broader
The wider.
pressure.
Yeah. It's a fascinating massage, and she's right, man. It goes deep. It is like, it's next level. But for me, I just loved it. I was like, get in there.
Yeah. Well, for me as a practitioner, I liked it because it changed it up and then fatiguing my upper body. And so it becomes like a rhythmic dance when I'm on the table with my client. So I have parallel bars up over my head and I'm either using 1 foot or 2 foot on the client at all times. So it becomes a very flowing, rhythmic movement. So I was a gymnast. So it's like almost I feel like back on parallel bars. I'm on doing, and it's just technique, all the things I like. And that's why I love yoga so much.
And your feet have feeling, so there's a lot of feeling there, so you
Yep.
feel those pressure points.
You learn to use your feet like your hands. You learn to feel the different areas when you're working on a client.
So not that exact massage, but I do a modification, somewhat sort of on that. But they do stand on. So I do know that you can get so much deeper, and you can the certain spots that you can
Right.
get. It's just I don't think you just can't get there unless you do that.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. So, okay, let's talk. You know, when I met you, that's what you were doing, and you've had a bit of an evolution over the last decade.
I have.
You know,
I have.
I mean, then it sort of morphed into more of a yoga field, and it stayed there pretty consistently. But then recently, you've decided to walk away from the massage.
Yeah, I
business.
decided to close my massage practice for many reasons. I mean, I would say 20 years in, I wanted to close my practice, but things didn't work out. I tried to hire a therapist to come in and take over my practice. I tried to sell my practice, book a business, and nothing panned out. So I finally decided to close my doors after 24 years of being in practice. So it was a hard decision to make, but I was ready in multiple ways to be done with that line of work because it's very taxing physically, mentally, and emotionally. But I knew from what I learned in my practice and the patterns I saw where people hold stress and trauma, I wanted to educate people about that mind-body connection. And that's what helped me step in to the corporate space.
Right. Okay. So I want to spend some time talking about the corporate space, but briefly, she also does something called emotion code work, and then she does the Reiki, which we mentioned, where she's kind of helping move the energy. Mm-hmm. And I'll share a story really quick. I went to go see Teresa because I had this shoulder. It was just like locked up, and I don't know if it was what they call frozen shoulder or whatnot, but it sucked. I had no mobility. It just hurt like hell, and I couldn't get anything going. And I'm smart enough now, thanks to people like Teresa, to know that a lot of times when you get stuck like that, man, we all like to blame the body, but it's our emotions that are stuck within the body.
Yep.
And so, I go to her and she does this thing called emotion code work. Have you ever heard about it before?
Not that.
Okay.
No.
You should. Everybody lean in, because to me, this is the most fascinating thing. There's a really popular book out there called The Body Keeps the Score.
Yep.
And based on that, she does something called emotion code work, where she's able to release these trapped emotions. Now, I know this sounds like super foo-foo to a lot of people, but stay with us on this. What's happening in those sessions, and how are you executing that?
So the emotion code is, so let me back up. So Dr. Bradley Nelson is the chiropractor doctor who came up with this modality. So similar to my massage practice, in his chiropractic practice, he noticed that people's bodies are going out in the same areas, and the area wouldn't hold, right? The adjustment. So after getting to know them, he realized it was connected to trauma the body was holding on to, or past emotions. So he came up with the modality, the emotion code, which is one type of an emotional release technique that helps to tap into the person's subconscious to release trapped emotions that are contributing to chronic pain, holding patterns. So I started to see those similar practices in my massage practice, or same patterns in my massage practice, that no matter what technique I did on them, the frequency they came in, a certain area of their body would just not release. It was blocked and stuck.
Right there, me.
Yeah.
Lower back, right hip.
You've been to me for that, doing emotional releasing yoga. And so I knew that everything I do basically is I needed it first in my own healing journey. And so long story short, the practitioner I went to, who I first received emotion code, she said, you should blend this with your body work. And you'd be one of the few practitioners that blends this type of modalities together. I resisted it at first, but again, long story short, I knew I needed to add another element into my practice to help my clients, because I can only help them to some degree on a physical level with the body work. So that's when I started implementing emotional release techniques, one specifically being the emotion code. And then I evolved from there, and I blend my yoga background and Reiki work to kind of make it into my own method, which I called the Porter method.
Okay. So basically it works like this. You're sitting there, you're asking me or the universe, I guess, a series of questions, and you're doing some muscle testing with her fingers. And if she gets a yes response or a no response, then she knows that, we release these things. And in fact, if you go to her website, which is SirrineYoga.com, we'll link to it in
almost pronounced it correctly. Sirrine.
God, in my head, I always think it's Sirrine, and then I talk myself out.
I know a lot of people mispronounce it, but that's okay.
But go to the website, because there's a video. Actually, the video that you and I did together.
Yeah, I made that into a blog post. So it's on my blog.
Silly enough to release that to the world. But it's good. It's helpful.
Yes. So people can visualize and see how I blend those different modalities together to make the release. So and then a great way to explain this, so people that are not woo-woo, that are more scientific based, if you were to think that, like, the study of physics, there's frequency to everything, right? Good or bad. So even our intentions, our emotions, our feelings, there's a frequency to it, whether it's negative or positive, right? Mm-hmm. So if you experience something, a heightened emotion, what happens when you get angry or upset? So people get an upset stomach, right? Or stress, they get ulcers, right? That's your body having a visceral somatic response to that emotion, that experience. So over time, if you have that vibration up here or negative vibration, it starts to change the frequency in your body, and it starts to cause dysfunction and shutdown in the body if you don't take care of that heightened emotion or trauma. So that's where I would see this pattern manifest in my clients in the body. So those are the type of concepts I've been starting to teach in corporate, is that pattern right there.
My question to you, Teresa, is that, Matthew, I'm open to, I've heard some of these modalities being used. Matthew's obviously open to it, used it. But my question would be, like, there's a lot of people out there, and you kind of touched on it, that are kind of, hearing about this stuff, but torn between their conventional medicine people, and they still hear this, like you said, like this still seems like, what are you talking about, vibration and stuff like this. They're newer. How do you help? I mean, you must see a lot of people here. How do you help explain and transition besides just, I guess you're talking scientific, but are there ways that you, I guess, soft pitch, bring people into your realm?
Yes. So there's different resources that I share, whether it's a video that Dr. Bradley Nelson and Dr. Joe Dispenza it's called Emotion 2.0. They do a really good job of explaining this concept of how our physical pain is all based from trauma and heightened emotions, and they describe it with pictures and stuff very scientifically. Or I have other blog posts on my website where I actually did an interview with a registered nurse who was also an energy worker, and she wanted to show how remote energy healing is just as effective as in person. And so she did a session with me, and she wanted to show through blood work what changed on a cellular level in different healing modalities. So she did an emotion code session with me virtually, and she took blood work right before the session with me. It was only a 60-minute session, 12 different markers, and then she took blood work right after. We did some movement too, some yoga, and then we showed in an interview, this is on my blog post, of how the markers changed on a cellular level, like detoxing in the cellular level, what moves and shifts and changes. So when people are more like, I need scientific proof,
right,
I guide them to different resources.
Right, and that is coming out more. They're coming out, we're talking about how molecules, and I mean, they actually move, and when they're seen, I mean, have you actually seen, and that, like, that's that remote type of viewing that when thoughts involved and things are seen, that they actually act different molecules. That have you heard about that? Right.
I forget who it is, like the water theory, like, yes. Right, saying positive terms. I can't remember the name of the person, but it's like the crystals turn different depending on the words that are said.
Yes.
And
it makes perfect sense.
Water's water's alive, literally. It's interesting.
Yeah. All of it's fascinating. I just wanted to highlight that really quick because it's a piece of what you do, and it's fascinating. It's super cool. But I really want to spend most of our time talking about the 4-letter word that I cannot seem to fall in love with, which is yoga. I
know you've been resistant to it.
I've absolutely given yoga a fair shake.
You have.
I have. I've tried it. I've done classes. I bought a membership at a yoga studio. I tried it.
And then you probably just never showed up.
I don't know. No, I actually did. But you now have segued into corporate yoga, and the goal now is to get into these companies and help them flow together, for lack of a better word, right? Mm-hmm. Because what we notice I don't know I used to work in corporate America, and corporate America was, and everybody inside that building brought their bag of bullshit to work, and because of that, like, it created a stressful environment. It's one of the reasons that I left. I just couldn't tolerate it anymore. If we had brought in somebody like you who had brought more flow to our community there at the office, I think we would have been better off. So I like on your website, you kind of spell it out like this. You're like, listen, is there overwhelm at the office? I guarantee there is. Go and talk to your people. I guarantee that many of them are overwhelmed with the amount of things that they have to do. Do they show signs of anxiety? Do they have mental and physical stress? Are people calling in sick more than you'd like them to, right? Do they get into meetings and they can't focus? Is their productivity being affected by, what's going on? Do they have low energy? If some of these things are real inside your business, I'm here to tell you that I believe yoga could be one of those things that if you guys did together would have a direct benefit. You've stepped into that space now.
I have.
What have you witnessed as you work with different groups, from the Girl Scouts to some of these big healthcare organizations? What have you noticed in the communities that you work with?
A lot of things. First of all, I've been teaching yoga for over 20 years. I've taught in so many different spaces and wellness and worked with athletes. Like, I love working in this space because it's reaching people that probably would never step foot into a yoga studio or even at their gym if I have their gym membership, because they're intimidated by it. They think they don't have the time for it, etc. But now that these employers are bringing it to the workplace, so I go on site or virtual, that they're willing to try it because it's like a benefit. Come try this. It's part of our wellness program. But what I've noticed, I do so much more than yoga, is I bring the mindfulness piece into it. So normally in a 60-minute session, I blend mindfulness concept with yoga. So like, how can you be more present when you hit a wall? What can you do? And what I've noticed, the feedback that I'm getting, because I'm doing surveys after 3 months working with the team, is their stress and anxiety is extremely, I don't have the exact numbers, I probably should have brought that today, but that's going lower. But some of the specific stories I'm hearing is like, I talk about healthy boundaries. So like when you don't answer work emails from your phone because people can see it, and don't do it after business hours, like have healthy boundaries of when you respond to text and emails when it pertains to work. So some of the feedback, a mom says, I'm not bringing my laptop to the dinner table anymore. I'm actually being present with my teenagers at the dinner table and having conversation with them. And so my next question is how does that feel? She's like, that feels really good. I'm connecting with my teenagers more, and we're having deep conversation rather than multitasking. So I feel like we're in a society where we're constantly multitasking and we're not fully present with what we're doing, right? Another one, a new mom, being sleep deprived, trying to have time to connect with their husband. So once they put the baby to sleep, they put their phones away and they actually interact and have conversation with each other.
Yeah.
And they put their phones away and they're getting better sleep because they're, not being pulled into social media and all the things that people get stuck in the evening. So one of the things I teach in corporate is the 5 to thrive. It's like the top 5 things I saw my clients neglect, that if they just did them would help them thrive, not just feel like you're surviving. And one of them was, movement, meditation time. I call it a power hour, where you get up in the morning, you have time just to pour into yourself. So those are just some of the little, like, chronic back pains going away. Like one of the other employees of a big organization I worked with, like he had chronic back pain and was actually getting injections. He's now no longer is getting that because he's implementing what I teach in the session at home, which that's the part I love hearing. Like, that's cool my goal is implementing it on their own.
What's cool to me is that there's like this awesome spillover effect. Like, yes, you're going into the corporate world to help them out with what's happening at the office, but there seems to be lots of great feedback about what's happening at home too.
Yes, and that's the part that lights me up. Like, if you can take, because I believe yoga is a toolbelt of solutions. If you learn when and where to use it, what you learn on your yoga mat could be implemented to everyday life.
Yeah, my question to you is, Teresa, for actually myself and our audience out there, you're obviously getting great results. What does it look like? Can you paint the picture what that day looks like when you're going in corporate? Is this a day that you go in every month at a certain time? Everybody gets together. What does that look like?
So the way I structure is I have to work with them weekly or bi-weekly on a 6-month or 12-month retainer. The purpose for that is implementation of muscle memory, right? So you can't just once a month learn a yoga concept or mindfulness and think that you're going to implement it because it's one time, like a lunch and learn and all of that, right? Like, it has to be frequency for them to retain the information to create that muscle memory. And the way I structure my session is the concepts build upon each other. So when I know I'm working with someone for 6 months to 12 months, I can start super basic with yoga, because I'm a big believer in my background is Iyengar based, so it's very structural alignment based, which was an alignment when I was a massage therapist, is if you can retrain the memory of the muscle to have better posture, better alignment, that's going to help us when sitting at a desk all day, rounding forward, but like a one-time thing, you're not going to remember that. When you go to sit down at your desk, you're going to be here again, rather than bringing shoulders back and down, right? So all those little tiny concepts, they build upon each other, and once they have that muscle memory and I see that they're retaining it, then I build upon that.
Okay, question for everybody in the room. If you could only do one yoga pose,
oh goodness,
for the rest of your life, what would you choose? Think about that, Steve. I'm coming to you because I know you practice yoga.
Yeah, I've got mine. I'm definitely yogi. I've got mine.
What is it?
I'd go child's pose. It's so comfy. It stretches. It's so relaxing.
Is that where the knees are on the floor and you're kind of leaning forward?
Your forehead's down.
Yeah.
That helps with overwhelm anxiety, actually.
Yeah,
the forward bend helps with that.
You're on the forehead, on the ground. You're on the earth. I like that.
Child's pose for you.
That would be if I had to pick one.
Okay, what would you choose?
Since I took that one, the best one.
I love hip openers for many reasons.
Yeah.
So I would say bridge with a block is a big pose I do for restorative that helps to open up the hips. So I'll keep it short and I can answer later if you want to answer.
No, I mean,
because I know you have a favorite yoga pose.
Down dog. Down dog. I still do it. It's like I do 3 yoga poses almost every day at the gym, and it's kind of how I get loose and I get warmed up.
Okay.
I go in, I do my down dog, and then I go up into cobra, and then I do my child's pose.
Look at you, Yogi.
Yeah. So those are like that's my little warm up, and I do that twice, and then I'm ready to do whatever
do your
I'm gonna
workout.
do. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but explain more about why the hip opener is such an important thing.
Well, for multiple reasons. So again, back to the patterns I saw in my massage practice is a lot of people hold their stress and their trauma in their hips and their low abdomen and their psoas. So your psoas is a deep low back muscle. So I'm
That's
sure
in the
I
front.
did it. Yes. So you can't get to it when I do body work through the back because of the ribs. So when I would do a psoas release, I go in through the hips and it's right by your hip flexors. But a lot of people hold trauma there.
That, by the way, is the one place that she's touched me. My wife has never gone. She gets so deep down in here. And I'm like,
It's like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Some massive, tough guys would come in, and I'm like, okay, do you want to do a psoas release today? And they're mentally like thinking through it. They're like, no, I can't do it. But because people hold trauma there, so that's also where your root chakra is. And so a lot of people, that's where they hold their first beliefs about themselves in the root chakra. So false beliefs most of the time, right? Like what we build our adult reality around.
Definitely outdated.
Is from childhood beliefs that are false as we start to build our adult reality around it. But so that's where the root chakra is, but that's also where inflection all day. So we're sitting, we're driving, most of our exercises we're doing, we're always forward motion. So it's really important to reverse the action of the muscle to open up and release that, but also that's where people can have an emotional release when on the massage table in a restorative hip opener is I've been taught at retreats and people will be in a hip opener and just people will start, even in corporate, I've had people start crying.
Of course. It makes
So
perfect
that's
sense.
why.
Yeah.
What do you got? Some hard hitting?
No. I'm like, can we can we get a table and we can try that? You know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Could be exactly.
I guess I didn't think about
So the
some of this might be
that's what
speaking
she's
pretty
thinking
true.
when I'm telling her that she's interpreting. I'm saying different. I'm like, I had it happen in the gym, and she's like, meh, maybe.
Well, it
maybe
might
some.
be triggered by the gym, but if
Yes.
you have
It was
something
partially,
emotionally you're going through, that can it goes to an area that's weak in the body.
Aren't we all going through everything?
But you've had a tough situation. You just got coming off divorce and a new change, and you get the kids,
yeah.
and I mean, there's stuff going on. Like,
So you want to know what the hips resemble with hips with emotion? Do you want to know?
Tell me.
So Louise Hayes wrote a book, You Can Heal Your Life, and she lists physical issues, and then you get to see what the emotional piece is. So hips resemble fear of moving forward with a major decision in your life, or feeling like you have nothing to move forward to.
Interesting.
Does that resonate?
No, not so much. Actually,
Okay. That's good.
But I've heard that just generally men carry their stress in their hips more. That's where not more than men or women, but that's where that's a saying I heard from another athlete. So I heard that before I got hurt. Though I did do a specific exercise that I probably did not stretch to do. Sumo deadlifts. I mean, it's not like you do a sumo deadlift every week, and so there's a specific exercise. However, there's always emotional stuff involved, and and so it's all tied together. Maybe that's
of course, it's all tied
It's all
together.
tied
And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
The messaging that it is this and that.
And that.
And I like to look at it from all different angles, right? Especially if the Western medicine isn't helping you heal. So philosophy, then I like to come up from a different angle. And I definitely believe there's a place for Western medicine, but how can you look at Eastern philosophy, look at the emotional piece, and come at from all different angles to see if that'll help it heal?
That's a good lead-in for a question that I have for Teresa.
We'll get wrapped up.
What's give us? Is there a myth about yoga that you wish you can debunk
that it's
people?
fun.
That's a myth you believe in.
You know what I'm saying? Is there a stigma towards it that?
I would say there's several stigmas. The thing that the top two that came to mind that it's has to be for a younger generation, or you have to be in a certain fitness level. And that's one thing when I launched Sirrine Yoga over 10 years ago, was to show that it is for every fitness level, for every age level, no matter where you are, and how to use it as a tool belt of solutions. So that comes the education piece, right? if the instructor is not reading the room and noticing people are not getting what the concept is, they need to back up and they need to explain the why. They need to say, so I feel like education is a big piece to, once people experience it differently, then they're more willing to go back. Another one I've found over the years is that people won't, if they're super religious, they won't participate. Huh. And I feel like, yes, it can be a religion. It can be spirituality, but it's basically what you make it.
Yeah. Well, we had a guest, Brooke, who started Holy Yoga because of that. They actually, have you heard of Holy Yoga?
No.
It's international.
She married Jesus in yoga.
Yeah, married
Okay.
Jesus in yoga. Yeah. She's married a lot. Yeah, she's
Well, I mean,
she's
you
different.
can make it basically anything you
She
want.
did, yeah.
So
It becomes your practice.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's important for, again, our audience here, because people who do yoga, yogis, they know what it's about, but you're trying to reach the people, again, the people that are kind of looking at it is, it's growing, they want to be part of it. That's the stuff that they want to know. Hey, listen, you don't have to be, it's not like, you look on TV, it's not like the movies portray. It's like the best looking people and best in shape people are doing yoga. It's like, no. That's not like, that's just the movies.
Well, listen, let me encourage everybody to pop on over to our website. We'll link to it in the show notes, but get the conversation started about bringing her into your corporation to start, right? Like whether you have 10 employees or 100 employees or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. Like get started. I think that actually, to me, the smaller businesses who've got 20 or less would benefit the most from it, because I think you could probably touch those people even more.
Yeah, and one thing that comes up a lot in the mindfulness discussion part is I make it more of an interaction discussion. I bring up a topic, have them brainstorm, reflect, and then we have a discussion. So it starts to make the employees, we're all struggling with different things. We're more alike than different.
Yes.
And it starts to increase the camaraderie between
Absolutely.
each other.
I was going to say that. Yeah, a lot of camaraderie. That's bringing people
Well, when
together.
you see Doug and Down Dog, you've pretty much seen it all.
Yeah,
We have a different relationship now, right? All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick
Cannot
break.
see
Thank
that.
you very much for being
Yes,
on
thank
with us
you.
today.
Thank you, Teresa.
You know,
Amazing.
one of the other things that's just imperative to our health is what we put into our mouth, and I'm talking about food, which is where Chef Ron comes in. Get your mind out of the gutter, Teresa. This guy has fed Kyler Murray, Derrick Rose, Odell Beckham Jr., and we're going to learn what he has to say right after this. We'll see you in a minute.
At Brooklyn V's, we bring the taste of Brooklyn right here to Arizona. Our family's been serving up real Italian food for generations, and every dish is made with love, just like Nonna used to make. From classic spaghetti and meatballs to layers of cheesy lasagna, stuffed shells, and the best New York-style pizza in town, every bite is pure Italian comfort. And if you haven't tried our world-famous cheesecake, well, you're missing out. It's been rated one of the best in the area, and once you taste it, you'll know why. So come hungry, leave happy, and enjoy a little slice of Brooklyn right here in Arizona.
Well, welcome back. It's segment number 2 of our Move the Needle podcast today, and we're going to be sitting down with a dude named Chef Ron Young. Man, this guy has got quite a story. We're obviously going to get into that a little bit, but before we do, I want to say thanks to Brooklyn V's for having us in their space today. We're
Amazing
in this
venue.
Yeah, we're in
Food
this
is
little.
amazing.
It's so good, right?
Food is
Take it from
amazing.
Chef Ron. Yeah, if he
Take
says
it,
so.
if you
Food is
endorse it,
amazing.
we know
Hey.
it's all right.
From
But,
what I already know in the history, this building alone has been here for 11 years, so this is an established location. So make sure y'all pull up.
Yeah, okay. See, there it is. So I don't need to say
Yeah,
anymore.
thank you.
So let's jump right into it, man. You have a business now. You started something called Foodvision.
Yep.
You make custom meals for people.
Yes, I do.
And this is one of the hottest things out there right now is meal prep. We're starting to buy into the fact, and I was just telling Chef Ron before, like, I had 2 teenage boys at home. Try feeding 2 teenage boys in a healthy way.
Right.
It's like pulling teeth. It
Right.
really is challenging because they like what they like. And what they like is freaking Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
Taco Bell. They want it fast,
Yes.
right? And meal prep speeds up the process.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of time to wait around. So we're going to get to all that. But what is Foodvision, Chef Ron?
Foodvision is just my vision of just being able to create. I feel like food is one of those things where it's like Play-Doh. Anybody can, with imagination can create whatever they want. So Foodvision is just, when you pick me, you get choices. You get, you have, things to select from. It's not just this is what I do. I can really create whatever vision that you have for me.
Custom.
Yeah. Did this start with somebody important to you? Did you start cooking for like one person and then it started moving into other things?
I'm glad you asked that. My brother, my closest friends, my best friend, Marcus Green, he's a coach in China right now, coaching overseas. And when I first met him, he was doing fitness shows, and him and his friends,
Like big bodybuilders?
Bodybuilders
Oh, wow.
and physique. They did all those shows, and my brother was like, "Why don't you do the meal prep for us? It's $1 billion. Everybody needs food. It's got to be,
And
I have a lot of friends that need food." So, he pressed me and pushed me, and I'm glad he did, because I wouldn't be in the position I am in right now.
So it
thank
all
you, Marcus.
started with the bodybuilding.
Man, yeah,
buddy.
just meeting some bodybuilders and them just being hungry, and I'm like, I can feed them.
I've seen these posts on the internet before from The Rock about like what the meals that he eats and stuff. So give me an average cook a meal day for a bodybuilder.
All right, so the first meal you're gonna have just protein alone is gonna be about 16 ounces of just protein, and just a lot of protein, a lot of carb intake on different times. I think they eat about like 6 to 7 times a day.
Yeah.
Throughout the day.
So how many grams of protein total is that? Like you're talking 200-300?
Yeah. You got to think
lot.
there's a lot, because depending on where their body is and where the goals they're trying to reach, you would think the dudes that are bigger are eating more, but it's really the guys that are doing like the physique work. They're eating like solid protein, like steaks, pounds of it, just trying to get it through, because they're trying to burn the metabolism.
What's the one meal everybody was like, hey, can you make us that? Hey, can you make us that?
Honestly, bodybuilders are very simple and plain. They don't want too much seasonings or extra, sauces and stuff like that, because they want to get the nutrients from the actual protein and stuff that they're taking.
Yeah, opposite of simple and plain.
Yeah.
Opposite of simple and plain, I know you've cooked for some of the famous people around here.
Yeah.
And so tell me, is there anybody that you've been a little bit intimidated about? Like you had to be like on the top of your game, somebody we know?
Yes, Mike Bibby. He doesn't eat vegetables. So that was
neither does my son.
Yeah. He
Mike
doesn't
Bibby
eat,
and your son. Yeah.
He doesn't eat vegetables. So that was a task in itself, because I had to find different ways to still give him his vegetables and all those different things. So working with him was being creative. I learned how to do vegetables a certain way. Between him and my kids, they got me using honey. Yeah, because I thought that was a clever way to get them to eat it. So little honey and a little bit of like seasoning salt.
So what did Bibby get? You get the double thumbs up. What did he say when you?
Oh no, he tried it. I give him that. He tried it for a while. We went to supplements after for the vegetables.
I'll take it in capsules.
Yeah. From there we were just doing potatoes and like protein, but he was a challenge. I applaud him for even trying. So that's my guy. So I applaud him for even trying.
Yeah, I saw in your bio that you fed people like Odell Beckham, Derrick Rose, Kyler Murray. How do some of those relationships start? Is this just like, do you have a football background or?
I have a football background. I played football for. First, I'm gonna say shout out to Mason Community College. They don't do community college football here anymore. But I started there at the community college, and then made my way to Alabama A&M, which is in Huntsville, Alabama. The Bulldogs.
Nice.
But yeah, I got to play. For those that know about the SWAC or in the SEC, we play each other the first 3 or 4 games of the season. So I got to play like teams like Alabama, Auburn, and teams like that. So
big heavy teams.
Yeah. So I got to meet a lot of people playing college football, and and when that was over with, went after going pro and meeting a lot of people through that process, and then ended up in Canada and Vancouver, and played a little pro out there for a little bit, and college, just in my journey, I just met a lot of people, man. And
well, that matters, right? Like they need that pedigree. They're not gonna look at a guy like me and be like, yeah, that guy looks like he cooked for me. I can't relate to them like you can relate to them, because you know the sport in and out. They trust you. There's that's what it is. There's a trust factor.
It's a brotherhood too.
If I can pivot a little bit, I feel like what I provide for people is an experience. I feel like I make people feel comfortable. What you're saying right now is, when I'm staying with someone like Odell Beckham or Kyler Murray, when I'm out of living with them or staying with them through that process of them getting ready. I'm learning who they are and making the environment kind of easy for them to adapt to, because it's not, the food is one thing, but just the mindset and atmosphere is everything too. So I feel like I bring a lot more to the table other than just the food. So I feel like a lot of players now are starting to kind of feel my energy when it comes to that, and I think I do a good job.
That's
at
so
providing.
cool.
Yeah, it's a cool job.
Yeah, it is. It's really important. We're watching right now on Netflix. I don't know if you see it. There's a Netflix show called Full Swing, where they follow the top golfers and they follow them in their journey. And last night's episode that we watched was all about the caddy and how important the caddy is, right?
Yeah.
And what is the caddy? The caddy's a part of that support system, and you're a part of that support system.
Yes.
And it isn't just about carrying the bag. It's about having those mental conversations with them when they need to have it.
Yeah, those deep conversations, like people, even for myself, I'm still a fan of the game. So when I'm sitting there having a deep conversation with someone like Odell Beckham, and we're talking about life or stuff like that, I cherish those things, because I'm just like, man, I know the side that he's feeling, because I was on that flip side too. I just didn't have the the availability. I didn't get the one hand catch against against the Cowboys during a live Monday night game versus in New York. So it's just one of those things. I remember me and him talking about that, just how one catch, and the opportunity of that catch and the everything of that, and how it changed his whole life, and to this day we still talk about him over that one game. So it's just how legendary a moment is in your life. So no matter what you're doing.
Time for another pivot.
Yeah.
Flavors.
Yes,
I read. Let's talk about some of your favorite flavors. I read like Latin, Caribbean influences.
Yes.
Tell us some more.
So my mom is Caribbean. I'm from Jamaican, to be exact. I grew up most of my time in San Diego. So I grew up around a lot of Latinos, and so I love like Latin food, and
so
stuff
good.
like that. On top of Caribbean,
Spicy too.
On Caribbean food, so the food can go crazy with color, with the flavor. One of the things I do offer when you do book me is gonna have flavor. It's definitely gonna have seasoning.
What's your favorite? Tell us some.
One of my favorite things to make which is real popular, is I learned this sauce. It's a pretty simple sauce, but messing around with it, I kind of flipped it into my own way. You don't have to
give all the secrets away.
Yeah. So I make the sauce for the chicken that I usually do for out of brunches, or people want fried chicken. I have this sauce that I make, and I can make it with different flavor with, like, I'll give you a little bit like honey, lemon, and then I can throw any like fruit, citrus flavor in there. To sweeten it up a little bit, but the saltiness and the sweet from the chicken, when you blend all that together, and then I found a way to keep it crispy at the same time, which elevates it to the next level. So I just feel like there's a lot of different things that I have. I have seafood. On the seafood side, I have a creamy sauce that goes on the lobster tail, which is popular here, that people book me for a lot. I'm known to being the sauce guy, so I have videos of me pouring sauce on food.
That's
and
so
like
great.
That. So I have
That's
thousands
your
of different things. Yeah. Different things we can go.
Sounds delicious. Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who would book you to come in and I'm trying to get my head around what Foodvision is all about. It sounds like, yes, there's the athlete piece, so there's somebody looking to stay fit, stay healthy, stay on top of their food game. But are you also doing private dinners? Are you doing like meal prep work for people?
Yeah, so my business is in 3 different phases. So right now it's the meal prep, which we talked about, which is the pre-made, custom-made meals that you can go on www.foodvisionmeals.com to order anytime. You can go in there and order those. On the second flip side is what I call catering, Foodvision catering, which is my assistant Amber, my PR person too. She usually handles all that, the catering and booking people, which would be like a wedding, or any big size party,
big event.
Yeah. And then on the other flip side, on the other LLC, we have Chef Ryan, which is myself, which someone can book me and have me for themselves if they want to go out of town.
The face of the whole operation.
Yeah, the guy.
The guy.
Do you ever get sick of cooking? Has it turned into a chore yet, or are you still loving it?
One of the things I had learned in life working was I hated being stagnant and just doing the same thing over and over and over. So I do a good job being creative about what I do, and it's so spontaneous. So you never know who's gonna call. I have something big coming up this weekend, which I'm gonna save for social media, but I just love the aspect. I never know who I'm gonna cook for. It's such a roll of the dice. You know, tomorrow I can be, tomorrow I'll be in Houston. Then the next 2 weeks from now, I just came back from Japan. So it's just, it doesn't, because of social media, you never know where you'll be. So no, I can't get bored of it because the people around me are making it fun.
Yeah.
Because I'm experiencing things and I'm getting to know people, and it's never the same people. That's the main focus.
Yeah.
I'm
Exciting.
I keep exciting.
Yeah.
I try to not focus on just cooking for one solid person, because I feel like I'll get bored of that eventually.
Can we talk about the meal prep a little bit? Because I'm interested in that.
Yeah,
like, how does that work? I know on the website it's like 10 custom meals for $125. Elevate the dining experience and don't break the bank. I love that.
Yeah.
Super simple, incredible pricing, first and foremost, right? You think about 10 meals for $125, you will spend twice that much going out to eat with your friends and family. So, like, give me an example of what kind of meals come in the meal prep.
So the way my meal prep is set up on the website, foodvisionmeals.com, when you go to the website, the whole point of it is for you to choose for yourself. Like I said, to create your vision. It's no set meals. Most meal prep companies that have like a set menu you have to pick from. The whole point of mine is for you to put it together yourself.
Ooh, wow.
And then we'll provide whatever, the selections that you pick. I try to, I've been pushing this to implement for a while, because everything's so structured and set, and I've tried to separate myself and keep that window open for people to decide for themselves. But like I said, people kind of tell you what they want when you give them those options, and they kind of narrow it down all the time. A good time like narrowing it down to that.
So give me an example of one of the meals that is like a really popular order.
So one of the popular orders is probably my salmon.
I'm in already.
Yeah, salmon.
Give me 10.
Yeah, so it's like a blackened salmon with a glazed sauce on it. And that's usually one of the popular. And you can get it with rice or quinoa and green beans, fresh organic vegetables. And
how do the meals get there? How are they delivered?
There you go. So we have our own delivery system. So once you place your order on the line, and it'll let you know, you'll make payment. Once that is done, on the day of that Monday, two of my assistants will call out to message each customer or client to let them know what time delivery will be sent to their location. So you can have it dropped off at your job or even at your front door. Okay. And somebody will take a picture or stand there until you open it and and get it out to you.
Yes. I love it.
All through the valley.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, all through the valley.
All through the valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Monday through Thursday.
Okay, that's when the drop off takes place.
Yeah, Thursday will be your last day. After that, you get pushed back to Monday. Yeah.
That's all right. You gotta have a life.
Anybody out there in the world you're going for? Who you shooting for now? Who's your
goals?
Goal? Yeah.
The goal is still the same. You never switch it up. The goal was already high in the first place. My goal was to be at the Academy Awards, cooking at one of those major dinners, at one of those things, and being able to highlight my culture and who I am and the people who are with me at that time, and just elevate. But the goal is still high. I plan on having one of the most electrifying restaurants and experiences here in Arizona. That's my end game, and it's something that I want to take my time with and really make sure that it's everything that I ever imagined it to be. And I feel like if I do that, I feel like everybody will always naturally get to see everything that's,
When you're kind of doing your research right now with the meal prep and other things, right? Like you get to see.
Figuring it out.
If I were to open up a restaurant, what 30 things would I put on the menu?
Right.
Like you're doing the research now.
And also on the catering side, it helps me because my end game is actually a high-end restaurant. What I'm doing right now is what people want and our people are asking for. What I have in my heart is something a lot larger and a lot out of, let's say, it's unexpected for me because people are so used to going off of what they see. So I've been saving my good stuff for my future.
Can you tell us what you're going to call it? Or is that a secret too?
No, Rise. It's going to be called Rise.
Oh, you already got it.
Yeah.
Why would you switch it up?
Love it.
Rise. Yeah. Never switch up the plan. You elevate it, but you never switch it up.
So check.
Now, listen, I want people to, like you said, you can go to foodvisionmeals.com. We're going to link to that in the show notes. If you want to follow them on the gram, it's AZS Dope Chef.
Yes. And let me say how I got that name. I got that name from these kids. When I first started, I was just trying to, I guess, uplift whoever I can tell what I was doing at the time, because I was just so excited. And I used to go cook at this school where this pastor would pick up these kids and watch them for their parents on free time, and they started calling me dope when I would cook, and so I had took that name on. So that's where it comes from. It has nothing to do
AZ's
with
Dope Chef.
anything crazy.
No.
It's just a name that I got from these kids that told me that I was dope and believed in me when nobody else did. So
Speaking of that, and I'm going to wrap up my bit over here, but on your website you read that there was a random encounter with a supportive customer that took you to where you wanted to go, and or at least got the process started for you.
at this.
Who was that influential supportive customer? Maybe you don't have to name them, but what was the scenario and the story around that?
Okay, the crazy thing about this story is I don't even remember his name, but let me say this. He used to play baseball, I will say that, and he used to play, I guess he told me he played for the Orioles back in the day.
Okay.
And then he owned like a sprinkles thing and company. And basically used to come into the shop and he would tell me step by step what I needed to do, but he wouldn't give me a step until I conquered one step at a time. He did that for 2 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, 2 years. And mind you, that's why I think it's funny that I don't know his name. Only people that know me know why I don't know his name, but I'm not good with remembering names like that. But I always say to God, man, like, some people just come in your life and
That's
they help
incredible.
elevate you. I just remember him telling me that I needed to, the last thing he had told me, he said, somehow you got to find a way to get on TV. And this is something, I don't know but it's something deep that he told me. It was like, hey, for you to cross over, you need to cross over as far as being introduced to other cultures and other people.
Yeah.
You got to find your way on TV. And as soon as he said that, another customer came in like the end of that week and was like, hey, we have a friend that's looking for a Caribbean chef for a Jamaican festival. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Like whatever, tell them about me.
So cool.
I pivot over to the job at Victoria's Secret, and I'm back there working. I'm packing up stuff, getting stuff ready for the day. And the lady calls me and says, "Yo, I need you to be on TV to talk about the festival. We're gonna highlight you," to being like that. Ever since then, I ran into a producer, which her name was Amber. Which is Amber.
Shout out to Amber.
Amber was the producer that day for that segment. Ever since then, me and her have been locked in on this goal that I have. And we've been chasing it ever since. And we've been on Food Network shows. We've done everything that you could possibly think of. A whole goal is just to elevate people. I just want people to believe in themselves and to have a vision. And whatever that vision is to go after it with all your heart until it comes true. And never give up on yourself. That's the most important thing.
I love meeting people.
Honor to have you on the
Yeah.
MTN. That's for sure. We're glad to have you here.
No, I'm happy
getting
to
your
be
word
here.
out. Yeah.
I just want people not to give up. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
When people ask me all the time in my DMs, what I've done to get to where I am, and the true story is, I just don't quit. I go through all the emotions, and I enjoy the ride. I love the ups and I love the downs. I don't know about you guys, but the best part of being an entrepreneur is rolling the dice.
Yeah.
Because I love when I win and I love when I lose because it draws a fire in me, and to roll a bigger dice. And I love the game. And like Dion just said recently, you got to be married to the game, and you got to love what you do. So
that's it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dion. Yeah. I just, we're talking about food so much. I get Brooklyn V's. I can't wait. I've been saving up all day for this. So,
are you going ham as soon as we're done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Good
yeah,
for you.
for sure.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Ron, it's great to meet people like you, man. Keep
you.
grinding,
Yes.
keep doing it. I love how the world is working for you. I mean, all these people dropping into your life is not a mistake, and I know you know that.
Yeah.
And so just, man, and you know how this goes. You stay on the path, and the people keep showing up.
Right.
I will be at Foodvision foodvisionmeals.com tonight making my order. I'm excited to give you guys a shot because we've been dealing with this national organization, and if there's one thing you know about me, it's like I don't want to give my money to the big guy. I want to give my money to the guy who's like grinding and getting it going.
You're saying you're a little sick of that anyways. You want to?
I am a little sick of it. Yes. Yeah. All right. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
man. Thank you,
much,
guys.
man. A pleasure to meet you,
man.
Steve.
Yes.
Another great episode here
Fantastic.
at Brooklyn
Great guys doing
V's.
some great things.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, by the way, go check out Teresa Porter's website when you can. We'll link to everything in the show notes. A special thanks to Belle Lacet Lingerie, and of course to Brooklyn V's. We'll see everybody for episode 28 next week here on our Move the Needle podcast.
Thank you. Yes.